Toastmasters.org. How many people have heard of Toastmasters in general? Yeah, so it's a pretty strong brand. It's a great organization. I'm really happy to have the opportunity to dive into the website. So a little bit of overview about Toastmasters. Of course, it's an organization that helps people with public speaking. So it's kind of like a volunteer organization. It probably started as a volunteer organization, but essentially people who want to improve their public speaking skills can join up, find a local chapter and walk into a meeting and have the opportunity to practice their next speech or presentation, or it could be a wedding toast or something like that. And so it's a great organization, very well known. It's actually an international organization. And the way it works is that there's just, as it says here, just thousands of local clubs that one can join. So Toastmasters.org, in my sort of brief, exploration of the website, sort of the umbrella, is one of the entry points to finding a local organization. So we got our, sort of quick marketing debrief on this, and what we found was that the top 3 conversions are find a club, use the shop, and start a club. And then we also got a little bit of insight into some of the visitor segments, but sort of in our quick marketing debrief, we didn't have the opportunity to dive too deeply into this. But essentially, there are potential members and there are existing members that are some of the main segments for Toastmasters.org. Then we asked about, as we always do, marketing activities. What do you do to try to bring traffic into the website? How are you trying to attract visitors to the website? In addition, of course, to the channels that they're using to find you. And what we learned is that there's a good deal of social integration, as you might expect on this one. Very well done. And I couldn't find any evidence of any paid, but I didn't really hear that much about paid. So a lot of social. So let's get on with some of the makeover recommendations. As we talked about, what we always want to start with is standing in the shoes of the customer and looking at how do customers experience the website. What can we learn about that experience, and what recommendations can we make based on that? So I went in and I started thinking Google organic search, as I very often do, and I want to start with some non-branded keywords. And I pretty quickly found out that they rank pretty darn well on some really well-known or popular keywords. So when you see an organic search and you see advertisements also popping up around it, and Toastmasters is coming up high, there's some gold there, and you definitely want to look at exploiting that gold. So that was the sort of first thing that stuck out for me. So if I go on the journey here. This one is about public speaking tips. So I go into the website. When I continue on the journey, I come into the website. Then I see that there's some very useful information and there's some generic content. So imagine that this page is probably attracting a lot of visitors who are interested in potentially finding a club or becoming a member. So you want to leverage that intent, and you want to try to create relevancy. So you want to do things like considering to put those calls to action out there for those visitors who are in search mode. So simply repeating the same call to action. It doesn't have to be fancy content. It's simply reinforcing the top objective that you would like them to perform, because they landed there from organic search. And again, as I talked a little bit about before, you can use multiple rules in the same content, as we call component, same area. So you want to think about using a rule like if the landing page was for organic, if this is an entry page and the channel is organic search, this would be an easy, low-hanging fruit. But of course, you can have additional rules that if a visitor is either a member or have visited the website prior to coming in to this page from organic search, then you can use other rules that can target them as a returning visitor, for example. So you can use, think about reusing the same area. As this is a top landing page, I might also think about, using something like share or tweet the page, because it's a page that has a lot of attraction. So having the ability to do something like share or tweet the page would also be an example of a goal, and would show the engagement value of this page and show the value of this page being a goal that you could register. So as the page, or as the visit may progress, let's say public speaking tips, and there's a variety of tips on the left-hand side. Those tips appeal to different visitor intents. So I could be a student, I could be an executive, I could be a young business person, I could be an MBA, I could be a seasoned veteran, I could be a teacher. There's lots of different intents, and why not make the journey a bit more relevant based on the intent? So here, if I dive into giving sales pitches, then I fit into one of those categories. I am a business person. So potentially I might want to find a club and meet other business people and learn about business speaking tips. So why not try to reinforce that through using techniques like personalization? And of course you can test out some of those hypotheses using testing. Is this effective or is it not effective? So there's a variety of segmentation possibilities on a page like that to begin to generate relevancy. And then remember that you can test those components. So if you have a personalization variant for a student, for a teacher, for an executive, for an MBA, you're able to, which of those earns the most engagement value? Which of them earns the most conversions? You get that insight simply by saying, yes, I want to test this page. So that's another clear recommendation. So just another example. I mean, on there was facts for first timers. A great indicator of intent. So I'm a younger person, I'm an up or I'm an old, whatever the case. I'm new to Toastmasters.org. Use that opportunity to introduce me to the club, to build that kind of relevancy, so that as the journey continues, you're able to use that intent accordingly. Now, a few words about profiling. There's a number of clear segments that I can see when I look at the content, the way the content is set up. So you want to think about using personalization to differentiate these different types of visitors, as I said, so that if I've been profiled as, for example, a teacher, and I've also indicated that I'm a first-time visitor, for example, or I'm interested potentially in joining, or I'm interested in finding a club, you can use these combination of rules to make the experience more relevant. So as I say, segment and conquer, thinking about the existing content structure. You don't need to redesign the site. You're simply creating profiles and assigning cards to the existing content to just find out the basic interest and basic intent of the visitor. As the journey progresses, and we have this sort of we have the ability to perform the calls to action. Then we have, of course, social is a clear, should be a clear focus for personalization on this website. There's great implementation, great integration with social, and there's a great opportunities to differentiate and discover the intent of different types of visitors. And of course, there are, And of course, there's some considerations in that. There's a lot of out-of-the-box rules if you integrate social with Sitecore that you can leverage, and of course you can create custom rules. Now in the case of Toastmasters, Toastmasters.org is like an umbrella organization, and it's one of the entries to lots of local chapters. So what a consideration here could be is to create a marketing taxonomy that lets me understand social the value of social business in general, and then I create a taxonomy that reflects the local regions. So if I broke the U.S. into 5 or 6 different regions, I can have a taxonomy where I could isolate visits from social from the Northeast region or the Southwest region, so I can begin to get different parameters or dimensions on the insights that I'm getting from visits from social. So the marketing taxonomy which is coming here. So let's make sure I got my animations coming out. It's hard to see that. So the marketing taxonomy that's in the box in Sitecore can easily be extended by creating additional groups. So if I create a group for the Southwest, then I can go in and when I create my campaign, I can include it in the Southwest of US group and get that additional attribution. It's not a lot of work to set it up, It takes some thinking and some process to actually identify what are the groups and what are the taxonomy, what are my taxonomy needs. And of course, you can use the campaign creator, Lars's third favorite tool, second favorite tool? Fourth favorite tool, and of course the most, Lars's
We showed the third one in a little while.
Isn't it the experience extractor that's number one?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, good. Got that one. This is the fourth, the campaign creator. You can get the campaign creator for free off of devsitecore.net. It's a free module that can be downloaded. So that's a little bit about the campaign creator, and just to illustrate what I'm talking about with social, there is great opportunities to target visitor based on intent, and it's pretty easy for me to see some examples. So LinkedIn, it must be a big driver of traffic to Toastmasters.org. Lots of business people want to improve their public speaking skills. So I go into their LinkedIn page, scroll down, and I see an article about a specific subject about improving public speaking skills for business people. I can click through that one, come into the website, and there's an article here that's focused on business people and trying to give these kind of tips that would be appealing for a business person. So you have this opportunity to take that intent, and here I provided relevant content for you. I'm building trust with you. Now I can ask you something. I can ask you to do something. I want you to find a club. I want you to go to the shop. I want you to become a member, because I'm providing you something relevant. Now you give me something. And that's the kind of dynamic that we encourage you to think about. So as I'm showing here, so visit the shop. There are products in the shop that appeal to business people. There are products in the shop that appeal to students, to younger people, to older people, and so forth. And you can use the intent to try to position those targets either in a hard sell or just in a very suggestive manner. As I'm doing here. So linking this, leadership excellence in business to visitors coming in from, a post on LinkedIn. Same thing goes for social. So a really great Facebook page that Toastmasters.org has, driving, a variety of types of visitors into the site. An example here where visits come in from social. Maybe it's people who are of a certain demographic who would be more likely to use social. Could be students, could be younger people. So you can try to bring those visitors into, for example, a web shop. So if someone is socially aware, they're using a social channel, they're coming into the website, they probably have a little bit of extra money in their pocket. So why not try to sell them some of the gear and the gadgets and the sweatshirts and the hoodies that you have in the web shop? They would be appealing to the social demographic. So that's what I'm suggesting here. So those were some of my quick makeover tips for Toastmaster.org, and it was a really great experience to be able to look through Toastmaster. Marketing makeover number 3.